Aromie here. Welcome back to Our Life Beginnings, and always we're now entering our last DLC until I'll see you guys in step 4. This is happiness. The day and the week were nearing their end, and you're welcoming it in your own way by lying sprawling out on your bed. It was quiet in your house, getting to that time of the night where you really should be sleeping, but you didn't feel real tired at all. You rolled onto your side outside the last lit window across the street, blinked out, leaving the buildings on the block faceless silhouettes against a blue-black sky dotted by stars. Your phone came to life on the nightstand, a pale light cast on the ceiling of your room. Without looking, you threw your arm out behind yourself, groping around on the tabletop until your phone was under your palm. At that point, you lifted it to your face, snorting once you saw the familiar name attached to a short message, just reading, "Hey." Cove wasn't much for sleeping out either. As you made to reply, though, more and more texts came through in quick succession. I love my little fucking crab thing. Crab keychain. Hey, you like doing things? You like doing things with me? I mean, what I'm saying is that there are things you and I do and we like together at the same time. Now that was eyebrow raising. You propped yourself up on one elbow, sitting upright against the headboard so you could text more comfortably. Well, I've got it all figured out. Dang, you suck at texting. Man, am I excited to see where this is going? You're right about that. You waited for him to continue. Man, am I excited to see where this is going? The typing indicator dropped off and a notable pause followed. You snaggered into the palm of your hand. It wasn't hard to imagine Cove, red-faced and hunched over his phone in the dark. Eyebrows furrowed as he tried to think of how to respond to your comment, but ultimately he didn't even attempt to address it. For what I was saying, you're free for a while, right? I've got nothing big planned for the next few days, but that can change. Cool, I thought so. I was just making sure. Alright. You could almost hear Cove's intake of breath as he prepared for the next part, despite the conversation being text alone. The window of your messaging app might as well have been a screenshot. You're allowed to keep track of the passing seconds with the rising and falling cries of crickets outside. When your screen darkened from inactivity, you wondered if you should do something yourself. Yes, you thought you could give him a nudge. You thought he'd get around to it when he was ready? No, he came this far. He could finish what he started. You dropped your phone against your chest and closed your eyes. You wouldn't be able to see him, but it would be hard to miss the telltale sign of an incoming message. Even if it took a while, you're willing to wait. And soon enough, a reply came. What if we did something new or sort of unexpected? Would you be okay with that? Something we haven't ever done together? This sounds so suspicious. You lowered your phone, leaning back against the headboard as you thought it over. The streets outside your window looked different at night, but you knew that if you were to wander out, there would be no chance of you losing your way. There wasn't a single inch of your neighborhood that you didn't know by heart, and everywhere you looked, from the grassy hill behind your house to the shops by the beach, you could recall a time you've been there with Cove, mostly just chatting as you walked together. You didn't mind everyday things like that, but as for something new or unexpected... I love that. What do you have in mind exactly? What's gotten into Cove Holden to want to do something brand new? Yeah, no response to that. I think I'll joke around here. Hey, I'm not predictable. Am I? You are? Oh. Well, not right now. One by one, Cove began presenting his ideas, starting off with attending a play. We're watching TV together. We've watched TV together in movies, but real people perform in front of us. We've never done that. I'm not sure what plays exactly are on right now, but that adds to the unexpected factor. There was a slight pause before Cove moved on to the next plan, visiting an aquarium? That makes sense, right? We go to the beach and stuff. We're pretty close to the water, but going to the aquarium will be water in a whole new way. The third and last idea was the one that was most out of the blue. Ice skating. Ice skating. I love ice skating, but Tyler does not because it hurts his ankles. It was a total wild card as Cole was putting in, the polar opposite of what the two of you normally did. However, it was fitting right in with the other options as something you had never done together. Let's say if hypothetically someone wanted to surprise you with an unexpected outing, would that be okay? I would choose the aquarium though. I know it's basic as shit, but I feel like that would be something they will both so enjoy. You couldn't help but smile fondly at that, wondering to yourself who that someone could be. You said it would be perfect if that somehow happened. You joked that it wasn't much of a surprise. You said doing anything with him was good. It would be perfect. If only hypothetical someone existed. Great! Not that it means anything, but which one would be your favorite? It'd be the aquarium. You had heard that in recent years the aquarium had been making efforts towards conservation programs. It seemed like a perfect obvious fit for Cove. Alright, cool. Don't think too hard about this talk. It doesn't mean anything. You're making me laugh with this. I sure hope it doesn't. I sure hope it means something. Sure. I promise not to try figuring it out. You're freaking adorable. You're making me laugh with this. I'm waking up everyone in the house. I don't know why. I'm not saying anything funny. Good night, Michiko. It's really late now. Yeah, it is. Nighty-night. And with that final send-off, you put your phone to sleep and lowered it with a sigh. You had no idea when Cove was going to invite you to the aquarium, but your mind was buzzing with all the possibilities that the coming days might bring. Your phone went back to its place on the nightstand. You resumed snuggling to the mattress, one hand thrown to the side and the other shoved under your pillow. Somewhere between this day and the next, you finally found yourself asleep. The next morning, after washing up from breakfast, you had just climbed up the stairs to your room, ready to tackle the day, when you heard the ringing of the doorbell. You turned towards the sound, angling your head in confusion. Was someone expecting a visitor today? Then again, you weren't sure if anyone else was around, judging by the lack of footsteps you were hearing. You raced down the back stairs to answer the door. As you pulled it open and saw who it was, you were only further confused. Cove? Are you alright? You look kinda upset? Oh, never mind, you look fine now. He was standing there with an unsure look on his face at first, like he didn't know who would answer the door, but the moment he saw it was you, a shy grin spread across his face. He raised one hand to give you a little wave. Surprise. This is a surprise. Don't you normally use the window? Why might you be here for this fine day? You simply greeted him with a smile. No, this is funny. You found it funny how you had grown so used to hearing him tapping that glass pane that showing up at your front door was what it took to get a reaction. Cove turned his head to the side with a considering lift of his eyebrow. I guess I do, but not today.
Sorry.
I got you something. He slid his hand out from behind his back, holding it up in front of your face as he offered the present to you. Your eyes widened once you saw what it was. A new book you had been waiting for. You hadn't expected a gift at all. Did you do something wrong? I'm kidding. Obviously, he didn't do anything wrong. He's probably just like appreciating us. Because we always get him. Oh shit, oh my god. Almost spilled my water all over my keyboard. Anyway, we always get him something, you know? Let alone something something as thoughtful as this. Taking a look at your face, no doubt a complicated mix of happiness and shock. Cove let out a laugh. Surprise again. It really is. Suddenly, Cove raised his head, his eyes finding yours and startling you into stillness. Are you right? Are you okay? You could see the lines of his neck standing out as he visibly tensed, the blush on his face reaching his ears. He was building himself up to something. You started feeling self-conscious, your heartbeat thrumming in anticipation.
Where'd you go?
Yes, Cove? What's wrong? What's wrong? He paused to take in a deep breath, shoulders rising and lowering with the effort. Oh my god. It's so cute! Like, we already knew he was gonna, like, obviously plan a date from the text messages, but, like, seeing that he's, like, asking us. Would you want to go on a date? The last word you almost didn't catch. Cove's voice going so small like the air was being squeezed out of his lungs. Before you could answer, he piped up again, waving one hand in front of himself. It doesn't have to be super committal or anything. We can just give it a try. And, yeah. Right, because we're friends here, so. I'd love to. You'll laugh at the ridiculousness of the surprise, but managed to say yes. We can just go out as friends like always. No! You nodded eagerly. Yeah, let's go. You're so cute. Cove huffed a sigh of relief, his lips spreading into a wide, cheery smile. Alright, we're gonna do it. With his big question asked and accepted, Cove raised the gift towards you again, gesturing with his other hand for you to receive it officially. You carefully took it from him. I'll put this bad boy somewhere safe and then we can get going. Cove had no problem with that. Still grinning, he stepped back, his body angling away as he waved a hand in the air. I'll get my car ready then. Meet me there. Okay. Oh, this is so cute. Our first official date. We're not counting the other one because that one was kind of a... As soon as the door clicked shut, you dashed upstairs to your room, prepping a spot first for Cove's gift. Then, satisfied with your efforts, you grabbed your bag, tossing in whatever else you thought you needed for the outing before heading back outside. Cove's old car was parked right in front of the house. You went straight to it, hopping into the shotgun seat. As you buckled yourself in, Cove leaned forward to watch you with an eager expression, his fingers tapping the dashboard to a lively sort of rhythm. He was ready to start, but trying to tone it down so you wouldn't feel rushed. I'm glad we're doing this together. Me too. I mean, it's a date. Who else are we going out with unless it's like a double date? Once your seatbelt was secured, Cove checked his mirrors to make sure the street was clear before pulling away from the curb. And like that, the two of you began your trip. You settled in fully for the trip out to the aquarium in the city. It would be a bit of a drive, but you didn't mind. You made an attempt to start a conversation. It's kind of funny we've never done this before now. Why haven't we? Oh, you look so handsome, dude. Tyler's trying to grow his hair out for me so he can have like a man bun, but his hair is not cooperating. So he might get like a different haircut. Probably because I've never thought about going to an aquarium with anyone before this. What? Our local ocean enthusiast has never gone to the aquarium? Yep, that's right, never. And not just a specific one either. I haven't been to an aquarium, period. Wow. This might be brand new for Cove, but you've been... No, I have not, no. I made two of you. You hadn't been to the aquarium either. Your family had other priorities for their rare trips to the city. It didn't seem like a big deal that you hadn't gone to the aquarium, but it still felt weird that Cove hadn't gone to the trouble before. Okay, what is the story for this? Cove tapped the tips of his fingers against the steering wheel, his face scrunching in contemplation. When I was growing up, my dad did try to take me. I've never been before because I was so little. I said no. Whenever he tried to talk about it, I'd tell my dad I'd rather go to the actual beach on my own. Or he could at least take me to the fish part of the pet store, but not the aquarium. Eventually, he didn't ask about it anymore. He must have figured I had something against it. When he stopped mentioning the aquarium, I stopped thinking about it. It just never came back to my mind. His expression shifted to one of bemused confusion. The thing is, I don't know what I had against it, if I did have a problem. Maybe I didn't like the idea of seeing water I wasn't allowed to go in, or to meet fish I could never bring home. That sounds like the kind of thing little me might have gotten upset over. Or maybe I just wasn't okay with doing a new kind of trip. Maybe just someplace new, and if only my dad and mom wouldn't be there anymore. I guess that might have made it seem not worth doing right off the bat. That's 8-year-old me for you. Cove shook his head with a pained smile, then his tone dropped to a distant whisper. It was only when thinking about stuff I could do with you that I finally remembered that I could go to an aquarium. Oh. He pulled his mouth into a bent smile and straightened his shoulders. He didn't want to bring the mood down. It all worked out in the end because I got to really surprise you with the news, huh? Yeah, you totally got me there. You're adorable. I hope it'll be worth it now. I'm excited we'll both be going there for the first time together. Thank you for thinking of me. You quietly nod. I think I'm excited that we're both experiencing it for the first time, because that's always exciting to do. Me too. It'll be good. The conversation continued on with idle chatter about what you'd do when you got there. Then the large angular building decorated with ocean-themed cutouts came into view. You'd arrived at your destination. You hopped out of the car and headed over to the imposingly large guest entranceway. Cove's head swiveled around to let his curious eyes take in every view, and you weren't even inside yet. You could see the realization of what he'd been missing out on dawned on him and okay, whatever. Cove bounced on the balls of his feet as the two of you stood in line to get tickets. His excitement continued to build. Wow, just look at it. I don't like water a whole lot, but I would still like to at least go to an aquarium at least once, just experience it. Especially those aquariums where like that tunnel, that the water that's around you. As much as I hate water, I still want to like go through it. I feel like that's pretty cool. Unless like someone breaks and then we're fucked. And all these fishes are just... Well, fishes is a fucking word apparently. Fish! Like this... I don't know. When you finally were face to face with the tanks, you could hear Cove quietly gasp from your side. He briskly took some large strides to get further into the room, and to get closer to the glass barrier, there he stood still. Oh, look at him! He's so excited! After taking a moment for himself, he whipped around to look at you. Cove was outright vibrating with excitement. His mouth opened in a large smile, but all that came out was tiny squeaking giggles. It bubbled over into full-on giddy laughter before he was able to speak in earnest. Each word was full of joy. It's amazing. I love it here. I love it too. Of course you do. You had to laugh at his obvious conclusion. I'm really glad. This is gonna be a tiring day, but smart. I love it too. He cheered back without hesitation. Yeah, the aquarium is great. The two of you wasted no time before rushing around the place. You went every which way across the aquarium. Cove was enthralled by each new sight. His eyes alight like a kid in a candy store, and a perpetual smile made its home on his face. No metamorphical stone was left unturned. He viewed all of the tanks from his tallest of heights on tippy toes, as well as crouching as low to the floor as he could manage. Your exuberance was just as bright as his, buoyed further by how happy you were that he had found such happiness. You beamed. After making an entire trip through the whole building, you and Co finally slowed the pace down. You had arrived back at the original viewing room. It was a good spot for a break. Oh. Co stood quietly near the tank in almost the same spot as he had when he first took in the view. Somehow, that moment already felt like a long time ago. You weren't sure if he was feeling the same way. Cove simply watched a watery world inside with open fondness. He wouldn't get tired of that view ever. You were certain of that. You walked up to stand by him, taking in the same otherworldly experience of having a sea right in front of you. Suddenly, Cove swallowed hard, your head tilted. He wasn't looking at you. His eyes were glued to the vast ocean view in front of him. But his bright red face reflected clearly in the floor to ceiling glass panes separating aquarium goers from the water. You couldn't understand. Nothing had happened. Then realization came. This was Cove. He was flustered because he was thinking about doing something. Cove always got that way when he was mentally building himself up. You leaned against the hand-railing with a smirk. You weren't going to take your gaze off him for even a second. It was imperative that you didn't miss any of this, whatever it was. Homie, what are you thinking about? Did he just realize this was a date? So, there's a lot of fish in here, huh? That's right, good job. His mouth clamped shut after those vague stuttered words. You could feel tension growing. After a breathless pause, he spoke again. You know, if you were a fish, you'd be an angelfish. Because you're an angel. You're so cute! You're so cute. Cove pressed his forehead against the glass with his eyes wide and gazed down as he fervently refused to even peek at what reaction you might be giving. He was blushing wildly, feeling unparalleled embarrassment over the line he just dropped. You smiled adoringly while watching him longer. You burst into laughter. You covered your face with your hands. Well, I literally just did this, so might as well. You thought it might be good that it was something of a rare occasion for Cove to be that direct. It was a lot for you. You had plenty of fish name acknowledged up your sleeve to use for this too. You had angelfish too. Is there another one? Is there a better one than an angelfish? Let's see. Well, if you were a fish, you'd be a diamond tetra because you're a treasure. Clownfish. Silver dollars, specifically 20 silver dollars. You know why? Sunrise guppy because you're my adorable ray of sunshine. Teardrop butterfly fish because you cry a lot. Sunrise guppy. Oh. You continued to speak after his initial exclamation, but it was so mumbled you weren't sure what it was. Cove had completely lost control of the conversation that he started, and he did not know what to do about that. Ultimately, he settled for turning his burning face away from you even more, as well as covering a cheek with a hand for good measure. Leaving him speechless had you feeling rather pleased. After that, Cove wanted to go around the aquarium again. He hoped to let it all sink in at a more leisurely pace while you were here. Plus, he desperately wanted more time to settle down after his latest big attempt at flirting. Let's say you began your second loop down the paths. It took no time at all to become absorbed in the incredible sea life once more. As you walked, Cove stole a quick look at you after only having eyes for the fish for quite some time.
Hey.
Would it be alright to ask why you chose this place? What made it the favorite out of everything? It doesn't matter why, I'm just curious. Because I knew... This is fucking real. I knew, because I knew you'd love it. I thought it'd be the most fun to do together. I always wanted to visit the aquarium, picked randomly, I don't know, honestly. No, because I knew you'd love it. His brows dipped at those words and you noticed his lips wobble. He spoke up meekly. Thank you. I do, I really love it. I know, and I'm glad. You rested your hand delicately on his chest. Whoa! Cove's eyes crinkled from the smile he made. Even if he was intending to do this all for you, you had to do something for him too. It couldn't be helped. There wasn't nearly enough time in a single day to satisfy Cove's desire to exist inside of the aquarium, but the day did have to end eventually. Despite obviously wanting to linger longer, Cove left the building with a skip in his step. It had been a good trip. The two of you shut the doors of Cove's car behind you as you took your usual seats. The clicking of seatbelts punctuated the end of the adventure. I would absolutely do that again. No kidding. Cove chuckled as he pulled the car out of the parking spot, spirits still as high as ever. A ways into the drive, Cove glanced towards your direction. You stretched your arms as you shifted in the seat, waiting patiently for him to say what was on his mind.
So...
I know this was unexpected, but thanks for coming along. It really was. It was fun, but still the worst attempt at a surprise ever. Thank you for going to the trouble to plan this. Any date with you is a good one. He smiled. No, thank you. You're welcome. It was no trouble at all. He spoke with a quiet confidence. He felt good about your reaction. The drive continued in comfortable silence. Cove wore a content expression on his face that warmed your heart. Doing things like this with Cove, he made you happy. Your heart skipped a beat, thinking about how mutual the feeling seemed to be. Watching the passing scenery out the window, you relaxed into the seat. The time sped by. It wasn't too long before Cove pulled into his driveway. Sighing happily, you got out of the car while Cove came around to where you were standing. You stood there a moment, rolling a pebble under his shoe. I'll see you tomorrow? I'm counting on it.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Thanks for the date. After that, you and Cove parted ways for the rest of the day. Even when you fell back into your normal routine, your mind refused to stop buzzing with the memory of your little adventure. As you crawled into bed and closed your eyes, you were back in the best parts of today. Yo, did I always have these plans out here? You hope Cove's surprise would continue just a little bit longer, continuing your dreams. After breakfast the next morning, you're sitting with your moms and Liz. While you were madly listening to the conversation, the side of your face squished into the palm of your hand. The doorbell rang.
Oh?
I'll get it. Mom passed by you to the front door. Your eyes lazily followed her. Then you turned your attention to Mom and Liz. They were still lightheartedly chatting. You weren't sure about what. Your focus snapped back when your name was called from across the room. Hey, Michiko, you have a guest. Right there. Well, I only have one guest, and that's Cove. On your way to the front door, Mom gave your shoulder a pat. She returned to the living room. When she moved by, you saw who was at the door. Hi, Cove. It was Cove, again. The smile stretched out across his face the moment your eyes met. Wait, why is my mom here? Hi, Cove, sweetie. Instantly, you looked over your shoulder to see Mom several feet away, but with an eye shot of the door, she waited. Oh, when you faced Cove again, he was looking at the guards shyly. It reminded you of the last time you had seen him the night before. That was all the push you needed to step outside, closing the door behind you for some privacy. You come into the door all the time. It's starting to get weird. What do you have to have up your sleeve today? What's going on? Hi. What do you have up your sleeve today? Crossing your arms, you leaned your back against the door. You already had a good feeling about where it was going. I'm glad you asked. The Cove chuckled awkwardly. He didn't quite meet your eyes as he pulled out another gift from behind his back. Surprise! Want to go to the theater with me? What? Wait, we're going on another date? You blinked and then switched to staring at him in bewilderment. Cove's eyes narrowed conspiratorially. The real surprise was that I'm gonna invite you to all three places. You never had to choose only one. I just needed to make sure that they didn't sound completely terrible. The longer Cove spoke, the quieter his voice became. He shyly scratched at the side of his cheek. And to check if you'd be free, so surprise again. Oh, you're so cute. You're so sweet. Thanks. His face grew red with a blush. Shyly, Cove looked away from you. Oh, do you like what I got you? Cove nudged your present in his hands towards you, hoping that you'd take it. Until now, you hadn't completely registered it. It was a carefully chosen candle. I love candles. What the fuck? I love it. You're so thoughtful. Cove's mouth pulled into a beaming smile that reached his eyes. Chuckling, he took the gift. I'm really glad you like it. Are you gonna accept the other part too? I'm already excited about the theater. Let's get going. Elated, Cove bounced a bit on the toes of his feet. You could feel the happiness radiating off of him in waves. Thanks for coming. I'll be in the car. You can go get ready. Alright. What the fuck? We're really going to all three? Or is it just like leading into that, but then you could just replay again and you're gonna go into those? You sped back inside and spotted your family still sitting around the table. They all turned and smiled at you. So what's the plan for today? Cove invited me to go to the theater with him. Ma clapped her hands together happily. Her smile beamed.
Have fun.
That sounds so fun. I hope you have a great time with Cove. I will. You grinned and looked over at Liz. She nodded, looking happy for you. It didn't take you long to get ready and dash out the front door. Cove was waiting for you as promised, and you both set out for day 2 of his surprise outings. And this time it actually was a surprise. So when I looked it up, there were 2 shows we could pick from around this time. One was historical romance with nobility, fancy outfits, drama, and stuff. And the other seemed like a modern day story, something set near a lake and at a bed and breakfast with comedy. It's kind of wacky, I guess.
So?
What do you think? I kind of want to see the romance one. Can I go see the romance one? Cool, I'm curious about what'll go down. What do you think the costumes will look? Your thoughts were busily trying to guess the historical setting. Cove hadn't given you much to work with at all. I don't know, luckily we're gonna find out soon. Yeah.
Alright.
I'm getting kind of excited. I wonder what it'll be like. I haven't seen a live play before. Have I seen one before? Elementary plays don't count, right? I haven't been to a performance before either. I like them in theory though. It could be good. I'm not really a fan. I can like them in theory. I just heard that they last fucking forever. You couldn't wait to experience this for the first time with Cove. You hoped it would be good. The rest of the drive flew by, and soon enough you were at the theater with Cove by your side. Tickets in hand, you both went inside. Shuffling down the aisle, Cove found the right seats. You were getting settled when the lights began to dim. You made it just in time. Your voice came out in a whisper. Glancing at Cove, you saw him staring straight ahead with eyes growing wider with intrigue. Then the actors started coming out onto the stage. The show set the scene focusing on a group of wealthy families and the web of drama they entangled themselves in. And yet despite the tension and chaos, 2 lovers emerged. Their swift engagement drew nothing but disapproval from their friends and family. You expected that there would be several trials before the lovers could reach any kind of happy ending. You became absorbed into the story and performances and weren't the only one. During the touching scenes, you could hear quiet sniffling coming from the seat where your longtime neighbor was. When the play finally came to a close, the audience broke into applause. Cove clapped for the actors until the noise died down. Then he spoke for the first time since the event began. It's over. Nodding followed Cove out of the theater. The sun was hanging low in surprise. Oh, in the sky, not surprise. I had so much fun. I can't believe what a good time that was. But really, I might have come back sometime to see the other one. Cove scratched at his cheek and contemplatively. I sort of thought it was going to be harder to keep up with the, what's the phrase? Suspension of disbelief. The actors were right there, putting on a show. I thought it'd be too much to believe it was really happening. But I felt more into it than with a lot of movies. I could totally picture the world they lived in. Ramiosi nodded along and listened to Cove's animated commentary. I'm still thinking about it even though it's over. Imagine if that was us. What? Attending high society parties and living in grand mansions. Would have to deal with the rich and powerful, and the politics or whatever that went along with it. Our families would try to force us to follow certain paths, but we'd still find our way to each other and to the things we want to do. He had stars in his eyes as he fantasized about the events of the story. I would love that. I'm good with the life I'm already living. Are you envisioning us being married like the couple in this story? Ooh! It's too bad we were born too late to ever really experience that. Ooh, wait, no, with this one. You raised an eyebrow accusingly, but your tone left little room for doubt that you were teasing. Cole immediately averted his eyes. A deep blush spread from his cheeks to the tips of his ears. Well, it's part of the story, but we don't have to. It can be whatever you want. Is that what you want? Yes? Stun, you couldn't get it. Well, first of all, we need a date first. We can't just like friends and marriage right away. What the hell? Stun, you couldn't get a single word out before Cove began to backtrack. Sorry, I'm sorry. Don't worry about anything I said. A few quiet moments passed and you noticed a distant look on Cove's face. He shook his head like he was trying to send a thought away. What is it? Trying to really picture a completely new life in a new place actually feels kind of weird. Now that I'm doing it, I'm not exactly sure how to explain. It's exciting, but also sad. I'm thinking too seriously about this dumb idea, I guess, but if I don't remember anything from this world, then it'll be pointless if that I had a life before. And if it did really happen, I probably would be surrounded by totally new people. I wouldn't have to deal with me anymore. Surprised he sucked in a breath, Cove laughed shyly. The fun part of imagining it all was that you were there by default. Just getting to be somewhere else on my own would be nice, no matter how cool the place was. It's settled then. I'll just have to look for you if I wind up having another chance at life, or magically end up in some other world. I hope to try to find me too. Oh my god. How can you be so easily, like, I would count this as a flirt, to be honest. He's like casually flirting without actually knowing he's doing it. Nervous, Cove's eyes didn't quite meet yours. His cheeks and ears were solidly red at this point. I'd find you, it's obvious. Of course I'd search for you. I would never forget about you, Cove. I'll see how it goes. My new life might keep me busy. You're getting a bit too out there for me. It's not something you should worry about. Of course I'd search for you. I'll never forget about you, Cove. It felt somewhat worked up for having to even say that. It was absurd to imagine any other scenario. Oh, thank you. The sincere tone of his voice struck a deep chord with you, and you had to return the earnestness. I mean it. There's nothing anyone could do to stop me from trying to find you again. Well, in that case, it'll work out after all. He took a deep breath and stretched his arms high over his head. He then turned his head to your direction and pointed with his thumb to his car. We better get back to our real world now, huh? It's getting late and I think we're the only ones still out here. You spun around getting a good look at your surroundings. Cove was right. All the other cars that were out here after the show ended were long gone. How did I miss that? It's suddenly dark too, by the way. Yep, it is.
Come on.
Let's go home. After that, you made your way into Cove's car. You set course for your neighborhood. Your legs felt stiff from standing still and talking for so long, but it was worth it. The car ride home went by far too fast. You and Cove were in good spirits and spent the ride chatting and laughing, bouncing around various topics. But you didn't ask the question that sat all day in the back of your mind. Why was Cove doing all of this in the first place? Again, you both parted ways for the night in the neighborhood street. You watched Cove head inside with a quick wave. You were halfway to your own house when a familiar voice called out to you. Turning your heels, you spotted Mr. Holden. He lightly jogged over to talk.
Hey!
How are you? Hi, Mr. Holden. I'm good. Great, I was just getting home from work. What are you up to? Or rather, what were you up to today? Me and Cove went to the theater. You did, huh? Sounds fun. It was fun and it was also a surprise, which is weird since usually me and Cove not hanging out would be what sounds surprising. Crossing your arms, you gave a quick laugh. Mr. Holden frowned. He rubbed the back of his neck and studied for several silent moments. Right, so... Chico, what's going on here? On there. Something's going on, isn't it? Huh? Wait, what makes you ask? There's not a problem, right?
So...
I'll answer your question if you answer mine. Deal? Oh, I'm making a trade again? That was Mr. Holden. I was trying to make deals with you, but you could deal with it. Alright, you have yourself a deal. You held a hand out to make it official. Mr. Holden smiled wide as he reached out and shook it. What's the story? The truth is, Cove. Cove's been doing a lot for me lately. Way more than usual. For 2 days in a row now, he's planning special dates and gifts too. I don't know why. Cove's father nodded contemplatively. He accepted the situation easily. That actually makes a lot of sense considering... Considering what? Hey, is this something secret you shouldn't be sharing? No, I'm nosy shit. No, what? Considering what? There's a sharp edge to your voice, and it drove you to take a step forward. You need to know. You have to tell me. There was a pause. He was unsure of what to say next, or how to phrase it at least. Honestly, I've been the littlest bit worried about Cove lately. He's gotten really up in his head about something. But it's not exactly a bad thing. It's tough to know how to even bring it up. I'm not sure if I should try to have a talk about it. The longer he spoke, the wider eyes grew with concern. There was more happening than a few meaningless hangouts. It's okay. What? It's okay. I don't know anything. He raised the hands in a calming motion when he noticed reaction. Let me explain. I know his Cove's been getting lost in thought more often recently, and he sometimes has his laptop out in the living room. He leaves it laying around on the couch or puts it on the coffee table. I have a clear view of it from there, and I can obviously see him looking stuff up on it. Cove keeps searching one phrase, and different wordings of it too. Then he'll spend ages clicking through the linked results. The line is, how do you make someone happy? Just that again and again. What? But I'm already happy. You had to consciously close your mouth after that. You didn't know what to even say after hearing that revelation. Mr. Holden gently beamed. Isn't he such a good kid? You continued, but his tone was rueful. Unfortunately, I can't relate all too well to that conundrum. Who am I to judge, right? Mr. Holden shrugged in an exaggerated way to lighten the mood back up. Before I was thinking Cove might have gotten into a fight with somebody. Now it sounds like I was way off the mark. Cove clearly has other plans on the brain. I'm even more confused on whether this is something I should get into or not. You know, actually, I was wondering if you could have a little chat with him about what's going on. It sounds like you're at the core of Cove's sudden study session, so he might feel more at ease talking about it, or more embarrassed, but he'd still probably do it. I would really appreciate it. Your gaze trailed over to Holden residence. Mr. Holden made a very good point, you had to admit. I'll do it.
Good kid.
Thanks. You're also a really good kid. He shook her head with a smile and started walking towards where Cove went. After a few steps, he realized that Mr. Holden wasn't following. He glanced back at him. I'm gonna hang out here for a bit. Make sure you have some space to talk without a parent in the way. The door's probably unlocked, so go right in. Okay. But he hesitated for a moment. Mr. Holden's smile faded. Thanks for talking with me. This has been on my mind too, and I think it'll be good to ask Cove if everything's okay.
Absolutely.
Agreed. It'll all shake out right in the end, I'm sure. Mr. Holden grew much happier than he was a moment ago. Feeling ready, he turned right around and went into the house. Hey, Cove was sitting on the couch with his aforementioned laptop open. He peeked up with a puzzled look, and then it melted into a smile. I thought you were my dad. Did you forget something? I forgot you. I hope you're not too disappointed. It just means that we're dad. Your father and I were actually just talking a minute ago. What are you doing on your laptop? You asked the question simply enough while pointing at the computer. Cove's eyes dipped down to the screen. Nothing really. Why are you here? Lightheartedly asked Cove about searching. Cautiously asked Cove about searching. Bullying asked Cove about searching. Lightheartedly? Can we talk? Nothing awful. It's just a thing. That sounds bad. That does not sound lightheartedly. Okay. Cove closed his laptop and laid on the couch cushion next to him. He got up, shuffled past the coffee table, and stopped right in front of you. Is everything alright? You didn't have to get up. I was gonna sit with you, but it's alright. Yeah, just what's going on, Cove? I was talking to your dad and he's been noticing some stuff. Apparently you've been obsessively looking up how to make someone happy. Is there a reason for that? He noticed that. Are you mad? No, I guess I really was distracted. I didn't think people around would actually be paying attention or taking note of things. He chuckled awkwardly at himself. Cove, will you tell me why you felt like doing that much? That so much? Oh shit, hello? Shit's serious now, okay. Cove looked at you with large, earnest eyes. I did it because I want you to be happy. But I'm already happy with you and everything, alright? I want you to be happy too. You don't have to do some big, expensive surprise for that. You can just be yourself. You already make me happy. But seriously, yeah, you're killing me, Cove Holden. Suddenly your eyes start tearing up. You don't know how to react. You already make me happy. The words flew out of you without a second thought. Cove's face instantly started to turn red and his mouth twitched. Thank you. Another laugh squeaked out of him. Now he was completely frazzled on what to say. His gaze fell to the floor and he defaulted to rubbing at his arm.
Sorry.
I wasn't trying to make you or Dad concerned. I didn't want to upset anyone. Sorry. I'm definitely not upset. Your dad isn't either. Cove nodded, but he was still lost in thought. What made you start doing this all of a sudden? Did I do something? No! Then what happened?
I don't know.
Okay. That's fine too. That's valid. You do things without knowing why you're doing it, you know? Like when you have a random anxiety attack out of nowhere when you were doing fine earlier. Like what the fuck? Where did it come from? With a deep frown, Cove looked back at you and repeated the phrase. Each time the inflection was different. Like he intended to say something different but was coming up with the same non-reply. I don't know anything. He ran a hand through his hair, trying to understand his own motivations. I guess maybe with everything that's been happening and everything that's coming soon, it just kind of hit me that we're neighbors. What? You want something more? I am all down for that. A quick snort of air came out of your nose from his conclusion. Yeah? I mean, you've lived right across the street from me for 10 years. The only other kid who grew up in this whole neighborhood is your older sister. His weak smile bent. And then there's our parents. They sure were putting in the effort for the two of us to get to know each other. My dad literally paid you to be my friend. Cove shook his head with a laugh. His gaze was far away as he nostalgically reflected on the history you had. Basically, everything in our lives was set up for us to be together. It was always effortless. And why not? Practically went without saying that we'd be around each other, but it won't be like that forever. Our parents can't always be there to arrange things. We can't live in the little world of the street forever. Do I even know how to make it work when I don't have every advantage possible? I've made you happy in the past, but could I keep doing it? What even is that I do that makes me happy? Wow, loaded thoughts here for him. Cove started to run a hand through his hair again, but he stopped partway through. He looked at you earnestly. It was like breathing. When you're just going through life, you do what you're doing without even thinking. And then something reminds you that you're breathing, and you become way more conscious of it. Being with you is the same. I do what I normally do without pondering deeply on it. But now, all this stuff made me start thinking about it. Then I couldn't stop thinking about it. I felt like I needed to try harder to make an effort. For you, for the relationship we had. I had to, and, well, that's what I did. Cove scratched the back of his neck. He looked sheepish now. It seemed like such a good idea in my head. It made complete sense, but maybe it was dumb. What? You punched his arm affectionately? You threw your arms around? Oh, a hug. Hug. Crashing into Cove, you wrapped your arms tightly around him and buried your face into his chest. You nearly knocked the air out of his lungs moving so fast, but Cove soon recovered and held you back. Stepping back, you took a deep breath. Cove shifted how he was standing and watched you bashfully. Cove, you'll always make me happy. You don't have to worry about any of that. You're so precious. You're a big moron. You know it's okay to tell me when you're feeling like this, right? You watched him with pleading eyes. You didn't want him to keep things like this to himself. You nodded carefully. Oh, he's crying. I'm glad. I'm here for you. Cove, we're best friends. Hopefully something more, you know. Even if us meeting is thanks to circumstances out of our control, that doesn't matter. We're close because of who we really are. We found something in each other that made us want to be together. Nothing can take that away. There was a pause where neither of you were certain who was going to speak next. Cove sniffled. Thank you, Michiko. Thanks for looking out for me. Even when I didn't even notice I was doing something worth checking in on. You're amazing. Just silently nod. Shyly smiled at his praise. I honestly couldn't be happier with the turn of events since you spoke to Mr. Holden outside your house. Cove chuckled now that everything was out in the open. His words were lighter. I gotta thank my dad too. I can always count on him to be around. I have such good people in my life. He smiled softly. Cove drew a bit, looking shy. Can I still show up tomorrow and invite you on the last surprise outing? Yes, I'll see you first thing in the morning. Cove brightened hearing that from you, grinning ear to ear. He honestly couldn't think of anything better than seeing the earnest look in his eyes. He simply wanted to spend time having fun with you. I can't wait. Me either. Alright, you should probably go home, huh? It's getting late and you'll need your rest. He looked at you, attempting to feign an innocent expression. I mean, what if something just happens to happen tomorrow? He laughed as Cove grinned, acknowledging his poor attempt at whatever that word was. Good night, Michiko. Good night. Try not to miss me too much. My girl's so bold. He headed to the front door waving as Cove saw you out. When you walked out into the street, you noticed that Mr. Holden was still standing out there. He looked up at the sound of the door closing behind you, his phone in hand, and smiled as he sized up the situation.
Oh?
You were in there for a while. I hope that's good news. Everything's fantastic. I got it all taken care of. I'm sorry for keeping you out here so long. Were you really going to stand out here in the dark until I left? Thanks for letting me know about this. Is all better now? Sorry for keeping you out here so long. He waved it off. I didn't mind giving you guys a wide berth. We had no clue how sensitive the issue was. I wasn't about to risk messing it up by poking around where it wasn't needed. Besides, I was chatting with Gregorio, Derek's dad. Where's Derek? Derek's dad, my very professional business partner, about very professional business things. It's fine. Oh wait, I'm talking on the phone, I'm assuming. Okay, it all worked out, so that's good. Great, glad to hear it. Everything truly resolved. You exchanged goodnight wishes with Mr. Holden before continuing the very brief trip home. Not wishing to disturb anyone, you quickly snuck inside and gently pushed the door closed behind you. As it clicked into place with a minimum of fuss, you landed on the side. Your mind buzzed as you climbed the steps up to your room. Cove had done so much just to make you happy, and you knew he'd be back tomorrow with another big surprise. You were determined to fully appreciate his effort. You wanted to prepare a gift to surprise him with too. You resolved enough was enough. You're blah blah blah. We're gonna give him a gift. Cove had brought you 2 gifts already, and odds are a third was coming. It was time to turn the tables and have something ready to give him. At this hour, that was easier said than done. Most doors were long closed, and Cove would be here bright and early to surprise you tomorrow morning. I wrote up purchasing a gift the way that he'd done for you. Luckily, you had known Cove long enough to see a solution to this problem. Your neighbor was always a happy boy when he was given food. You were sure you could wrestle something fitting that description out of the kitchen, one way or another. Your neighbor was always a happy boy when he was given food. You're sure you could wrestle something fitting that description out of the kitchen one way or another. Feeling invigorated, you spun around and sped back downstairs. It was time to put your plan into action. You're a great chef. You could make something you loved. You're a decent cook. You could make something you loved. You could manage cooking, mostly. You could figure out how to make something you loved. You struggled. You were a disaster. You want to find something he loved that didn't need preparation. I think I'm pretty okay as long as, you know, I follow the fucking recipe. I'd say I'm decent. You sized up your options. With an early start, you'd be able to pull something together. You'd be able to pull together something simple in the morning. If you wanted to go for something more elaborate and time-consuming, you'd need to do it right now. There was also the option of rallying the troops. Your moms knew how to cook wonderfully, and you could easily persuade them to give you a hand with this. No, I want to do it by myself. It was for the best. You chose to make cinnamon rolls. Cinnamon roll for my cinnamon roll. You're going to make banana peanut butter and honey sandwiches. Ooh, that sounds so good. Let's do the sandwiches. You remember how back when you're... Oh, look at his baby self. You were growing up, Cove would attempt to prepare his own food. He kept to very basic things. That particular sandwich had been a firm favorite of his. He'd be thrilled if you presented him with a classic like that. Sandwiches would taste best fresh. That was nearly always the case, but with Cove's favorite fillings, there was a high chance of them going soggy if left for too long. You vowed to get up extra early, setting an alarm on your phone so that you'd have plenty of time to make them before you arrived. You dusted off your hands, satisfied the job well done. With your mission accomplished, you headed back. I didn't do anything but look for the ingredients. You headed back up to your room. You took the steps lightly, feeling buoyed as you imagined how happy Cove would be with your unexpected gift. Cove was working so hard to make you happy. You dearly wanted your friend to be happy too. My friend? You could only hope your efforts would work as well for him as his plans were working for you. You were up early the next day, ready and waiting for Cove's inevitable appearance. The alarm had gone off not too long before and roused you ahead of your usual schedule, allowing you plenty of time to make the sandwiches fresh. Making them had truly brought you back to your younger days. You recalled the blazing heat of the summer afternoons, the very first experiences of teenagedom, and a familiar neighbor always showing up at your door, at your house. But there wasn't time to get lost in a daydream. You just finished packing the finished product up. Your ears were perked, listening for the doorbell. Instead, what you heard was a familiar rapping on the window pane. There was no need to look to know who that was. Only one visitor used your window as his personal entranceway. Getting up, you headed over to let him in. You gazed into your neighbor's face as you unfastened the window, opening it wide. He smiled at you, still crouched on the window ledge. Surprise? Surprise! I'm glad you're here. Hi. Tired of using the front door already? You waited for him to... Tired of using the front door already? Cove's laugh was as airy as a cotton candy sold on the boardwalk. He was in good spirits. Surprise. I'm really keeping you on your toes. What will I do next? He waggled his eyebrows at the joke as he stepped back to let him enter the room. Today he clambered through with extra difficulty thanks to the object he was clutching securely. You guess it was another gift. You really didn't need to bring me anything else. So what did you bring me this time? Thank you. Wait for him to bring it up. He didn't really have to. He's always giving me something each day. Though you were sure Cove must have planned this long in advance, you couldn't help feeling like you were doing something wrong by taking so much. His presence was already present in itself. Cove smiled bashfully, glancing down at the items in his hand before holding out to you. With a bit of flair, Cove clinked together 2 mugs like he was giving a toast. Both cups were stamped with Sunset Bird Town symbol. One for you, one for me. I thought it'd be pretty fitting considering how big of an impact this town has had on us. His eyes were trained on you, searching for emotion on it. I hope you like it. You hugged him. Obviously, that's his choice, because we can't kiss him. You felt tears welling in your eyes. You shook your head, affectionately simply smiled at. Hug. You threw your arms around him and hugged him tightly. Cove nestled your head, still holding your present carefully. You're so cute. I can't believe you were lost for words. This means a lot to me. I definitely like it. Thank you. This means a lot to me. Then you accepted the thoughtful present in your own grasp. Only once he transferred ownership and cemented with your approval did Cove straighten up and pull himself together. Well, would it be alright for me to take you out today? We could, I don't know, go ice skating? You smirked, already anticipating what that you'd say yes. I'd go anywhere with you, only as long as it'll make you happy. Too? Alright, but you're lucky I've got time for you. A busy schedule? I'd go anywhere with you, Cove. His expression brightened further. That was exactly what he had hoped.
Thanks.
You were glad to see how happy your acceptance had made him, but before Cove could whisk you away on another big outing, you made your own move. Your surprise would be better now than when you got back late that night. Actually, before we go, I got something for you too.
What?
Really? It was amazing how surprised he was. Cove had spent 3 days raining gifts and special trips on you, but he hadn't at all counted on you doing something in return. What is it? Stay here for a second, I'll show you. Okay. He watched you expectantly as you turned around to head downstairs. You reached where the banana, peanut butter, and honey sandwiches were waiting and collected the prize. As you flipped back around to your room, a gift in hand, there was a smile playing out across your face. Cove was patiently waiting where you left him, tapping his fingers against the side of his pants. I hope it's enough for a growing boy like you. It's a thank you gift for everything. Let the present do the talking. I'll let the present do the talking. He looked curiously, barely believing that you'd gone to the effort to select a present for him at such short notice. You handed the gift over for his inspection. His eyes widened as he saw the treat. I made this myself, so set your expectations and reactions accordingly. Is this in from a cursory... What the fuck is this word? I've never seen it before. Glance Cove instantly anticipated what kind of sandwiches were waiting for him. He picked one out and took out almost a third of it in one bite. With his mouth full, he couldn't comment on the taste of the words, but the satisfied noises he made indicated a positive review was coming. Dude, I want to try this so bad. I want to try this combination. Banana, honey, and peanut butter, right? I'm not a big fan of peanut butter because sometimes I hate how it like sticks into your mouth or like dries your tongue out or whatever. I hope I'm not the only one that is experiencing this problem with peanut butter. But that's the only reason why I don't eat it too much. Well, does it get the Cove seal of approval? Cove kept chewing, gesturing apologetically to his occupied mouth. Finally, after what felt like an age, he swallowed. It's amazing, the balance of peanut butter, bananas, and honey. Just the way I like it. I can't believe you remembered. That's incredible. You chuckled, recalling those moments long ago that you spent together. How could you not remember the days with a guy like him? Because, I love you, so I'm going to remember everything you like. Or, hopefully. Cove wiped his mouth with the back of his hand, now a little calmer after the initial burst of excitement. His feelings instead settled into an easy, warm affection.
It's nice.
Thank you for this. It's so nice of you. Just do me a favor, don't eat so fast that I would choke. I'm glad you like it. You're welcome. I'm glad you like it. You blushed from his praise. His features softened, and you felt like you were being thoroughly appreciated. The food you gave was also getting its due attention. He'd already gone in for a second serving. You couldn't blame his indulgence. That said, the amount you'd given him was enough for several servings, far more than even Cove could usually finish at once. You made sure of that. But as he continued to devour it, you're starting to suspect that polishing it all off was the goal. In spite of the generous portion, he was willing to try and eat it all in order to show you how much he liked the present. You're gonna make yourself sick. It's okay. Save some for later. I don't mind. Maybe this is a bad idea after all. It's okay to save some for later. I don't mind. You could tell that he wanted to show how taken he was with the gift, but you'd not presented it to him as a challenge to be overcome. Cove finished his current bite and let out a satisfied sigh.
Alright.
I'll stop for now. There's other stuff to do and I can have more later. You smiled at him, relieved that your gift could be enjoyed and not inhaled. Time for me to stop hogging the limelight. We can do your surprise now too. Cove laughed. Yours was a better surprise for sure. It was a real one, but yeah. He grinned broadly as if the exchange had fired him up even further. I'm definitely gonna take you out now. Cove he offered his hand. You welcomed it. Why the fuck would you deny it? It took his hand into yours, palm to palm. Cove squeezed your hand before heading out the door, guiding you along. Hand in hand, you moved down the stairs together, out of the house and into the neighborhood. Cove's car was parked nearby. He unlocked it, allowing you to reach your regular spot in the passenger seat. Cove paused to put what remained of his present out safely away before hopping into the driver's seat. Did you say pocket? Into your pocket? Okay, I didn't say where he put it. You set out beginning your trip to the third and final activity of Cove's grand happiness plan. Now that you were sitting down for the drive, it felt like a good moment to regain your bearings. You shrugged my pack onto your lap and began thumbing through your things to make sure. Okay. To make sure through your things to make sure that in your hurry to leave you hadn't forgotten anything important. You're just more warmly hopeful to be prepared for the trip. You're just normally, but packed some extra layers just in case. You're just normally didn't bring any extra layers. I would probably bring like a jacket. With the jacket, stuffed in there, your bag had taken on a lopsided sort of bulk, awkward to carry around. You zipped it closed again and Cove began to speak, raising his voice to be heard over the ambient noise of the car ride.
So...
Ice skating. This is gonna be crazy. Having fun waters that's frozen? Unheard of. He chuckled at his own joke and you shook your head at him, though you couldn't help grinning at his silly comment. Who knows? Maybe in colder places, the opposite that's weird. It's the opposite that's weird? What? As you looked at him, you caught a glimpse of the back seat. It was empty, which wouldn't be strange any other day. You didn't bring a jacket. Nope, you know I hate extra layers, and there aren't any parents around to force me to do it now. Yeah, your parents can't tell you what to do. You're a big boy. Just going over not preparing. Nah, it's fine, dude. You're probably gonna regret that once we get there. I like that you don't wear a lot of layers too. That's a flirt in itself. Let's go for it. His fucking eyes. I drew a nervous little giggle from Cove, who readjusted his grip on the steering wheel. He dodgedly kept his eyes straight ahead, but you could see the blush sneaking across his face. You laid your arm against the window, the scenery outside passing by in a blur, until finally you arrived at the ice skating rink. The two of you grabbed your things and got out of the car. A wave of heat so thick it felt like you were swimming in it hit you as soon as you set foot onto the sun-hot asphalt of the parking lot. Cove fell in step next to you, dragging the back of his arm across his face. You and Cove exchanged looks. Well, here we are, his tilted smile seemed to say. The skating rink was a large building clad in concrete, with its name plastered in simple white letters above its entrance. The nondescript flat rooftop-style architecture reminded you a bit of a local mall. You went in as the door slid shut behind you, heard Cove's sharp and take a breath. You glanced over at him, seeing the stunned look on his face, his lips drawn tight in a frown. It's really cold in here. You're equally amazed at how cold it was. Are you gonna be okay? Wow, you dork, of course it's cold. I guess you had to change your name from Cove to Cove. Cold Holden? Holden for short. That way next time we come here. Cove had his arms wrapped around himself in an attempt to keep warm, all forgotten in favor of throwing you in questioning luck. You could say it's cold in here. You covered him with a snickered at your humor. The joke got a trembling smile out of him too. How about you? How are you feeling? I think a jacket would be fine, so I'm feeling just fine. There was no denying that the building was chilly, but it was a refreshing change compared to the sweltering heat of the parking lot. He laughed breathily. That's good. Your neighbor shuddered dramatically and was retracting his head into his shirt in his renewed effort to keep warm. You held onto him to keep him warm? You took a step towards him and wrapped him up in what you hoped would eventually become a warm embrace. For a second, his body went even more rigid, but he quickly relaxed and gave you a self-conscious smile.
Thank you.
See, do you feel like thanking me after I forced you to rent skates like this? His quiet laugh shook through his abdomen. He felt it on the side of your body right before he put his arm around your waist and pressed you closer, an unspoken sign that he had no problem with it. How are we just friends? Do friends act like this casually with no feelings towards each other romantically? Does this happen? Please explain if this does happen to you. Because I don't think I could handle. Like, I'm falling in love, excuse me. Like this, the two of you ambled over to the rental counter together, a slightly awkward process that had you unsure if you were going forward or sideways. The clerk ended up giving you two funny looks over the top of her glasses as you went through the process of paying for admission and finding skates in your shoe sizes. But throughout it all, Cove didn't shiver once. Eventually, you had your skates. It was a particularly well-worn set. Still illustrated, but where it had once been blue was now faded, and where it had once been white was now closer to tan. With some time in a low bench okay. You both were set up with the rented shoes and now stood by the opening to the rink. It was an oblong shape, surrounded by paneled walls with rails. You were a little amused to see that there were others dressed in t-shirts and shorts, and you turned to Cove to point it out. That answering laugh that came sounded a little distracted.
Well,
here we go. Tentatively, he took one step out onto the ice. You could tell by the way he put his hands out that he had been expecting to fall flat on his face, but his other foot fell with ease, and like that, he was standing upright. A relieved sigh left him. He took a few more steps to test it out, nothing that could be mistaken for skating, but his legs were steady and he kept his balance. His eyes were bright when he looked back at you. I'm doing it! You've never been ice skating before now either? No, I have been. I just suck, and I'm always holding the rail. It was fun to see Cove's first time trying it, but you've done it before without him. You came forward to join him, and you flew out onto the ice easily. You did just fine. You were a little shaky, but you managed to catch yourself. You barely moved a foot before needing to grab the side. That's me. With your hand splayed out against the railing, you searched Cove's face and found nothing but an understanding smile there. We'll both work on it? Yeah. It's kind of amazing we're seriously ice skating right now, but this is what we decided to do. I should stop being surprised over everything. Let's ski. two of you developed a cautious rhythm, drawing long, slow circles around the edge of the rink side by side. Neither of you were experts, but you were definitely floundering more than Cove. He was happy to keep the pace slower, even stop entirely whenever you needed to grab onto the edge again. Despite how ungraceful of a pair you were, it was fun. White puffs of air released from you and Cove as you laughed and cheered each other on for the smallest achievement. There were also still plenty of moments spent clinging onto each other for added warmth against the unrelenting chill of the space. The hours slid right past you, and just like that, it was suddenly time to call it a day. After returning to borrowed skates, Cove and you ventured back into the California air. Even though the sun was almost behind the horizon, it was still palpably warmer than inside the rink. Cove rushed over to his car, his shivering hands clutched to yours. You let him pull you forward in his mad dash to the vehicle. Doors were open and closed, seats were taken, the engine switched on, and he turned to max. At that, Cove finally relaxed. Your foray into the freezing cold had ended, and nicely at that. On the return leg of the journey, you felt Cove lapse deep into a world of thought. Typically, even when conversation was exhausted, his eyes would flick to you occasionally, and you'd exchange smiles and other such gestures. This time, his focus was split purely between the road and the recesses of his mind. Recesses? But as there was no sign of trouble in his features, so you were happy to let him mull over whatever he needed to in peace. The trip drifted by in a comfortable silence. Before long, you were back in the neighborhood. You left each other through your respective sides, and Cove stepped around the vehicle to stand with you. Wordlessly, he gestured to your home. He was intending to take you there. Perhaps he felt the trip wasn't truly over until you were literally inside your house. You contentedly continued to go with Cove on his whims, and you went inside. Once under the light of your living room lamps, his eyes locked onto yours.
Thank you.
I know this was a lot, but I really did have so much fun. He grinned in an almost conspirational way. I really did it. This whole entire dumb plan of mine. I was happy it became a reality. I hope you're happy too. I've never been happier. All I want is for you to be happy. Well, I've felt worse. What the fuck? What should we choose to say to Cove? Yes, I am. I've never been happier. All I want is for you to be happy. Well, I've felt worse. Or you nodded seriously. I think I would want him to be happy too. I hope he also enjoyed himself. The smile he wore was small, even restrained compared to some of the grins he flashed earlier, but it was imbued with a calm, comforting contentment. In this moment, he was as joyful as you'd ever seen him. His next words escaped in a whisper. No one makes me feel the way you do. How are we still friends? Why are we not dating? Hello? But he moved the conversation along before he had a chance to react to that admission. It had to be intentional.
Michiko.
Yes. Could I ask for you to go along with one more surprise? Oh, there's more? His voice was gentle, even as he implored you for a little more. The question itself was a surprise. Another? You could hardly believe that there was even more hidden up his sleeve. Cove chuckled quietly, nodding his head ever so slightly. A new one. I think I don't want to go home already. Not yet. And going back to one of our usual spots sounds fantastic after all this new stuff we went through. I can do that. Let's stay together. I'm assuming it's to the hill. Not that an offer like that coming from you counts as a surprise, but it's the thought that counts. You smirked at him.
Yeah.
You're right. I'm bad at surprises. What a surprise. The two of you, I'm assuming, laughed together over the silliness of this entire mini adventure Cove had concocted. Thanks for saying yes anyway. You walked down your usual path side by side. You trod in the same path many times. By all rights, the novelty should have been long gone, but you found fulfillment in every step you took. You were sure you always would, with Cove supporting you along the way. Whether he was near or far, it didn't matter in the end, he would always be there for you. With this plan on Cove drawing to a close, you might have expected to feel a little wistful. It had been an exciting few days, but there was no need to yearn for what had gone. After all, you knew that the two of you would always find new ways to bring a smile to each other, to the other's face. It's what you both did, and you were looking forward to the new surprises already. Holy fuck, my voice. We have completed the final DLC, which is happiness, which is really stinking adorable. You get to see Cove plan all these dates for you because he just wants to make you happy, but like he already makes us happy. But still, the thought that was put into these dates. It's really adorable. I think that has to be the best DLC from step 3. And then next one might be Serendipity, just because we caught up with Shiloh and Jeremy and got to see like their progression. But we've already mostly seen their progression. If you played Exo Droplets, you would know like their personality and everything. But this is the end of Our Life Beginnings and Always until step 4 comes out. I don't know when that will be, but when it is, you just know your girl's gonna be here with it ready. Hopefully on time. Hopefully I didn't magically take another vacation or have too much shit going on to my channel. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Stay beautiful, and I'll see you guys in the future.